Looking at optimizing the system after Windows is installed. Obviously this Windows has been running for a while, but we can still optimize after installation. The first and quickest way after installation is to do a disk cleanup. It's a little utility that Windows has. It basically cleans up all the temporary files that you no longer need and everything like that. Windows does put some temporary files in it. Some of it cleans up, some of it doesn't. This will help clean it up. It also is good to run this occasionally to keep your system optimized. Another cleanup utility you can get is CC Cleaner. It's a great little program. It does a little bit more than what the Windows utility does, and being free, it does run in the background. Being free, it's not bad value for what it does. It cleans up all of your temporary internet files, your temporary files, and it gives you a little pop-up window that says, you know, you can save X amount of space if you do a cleanup now. So you just go, yep, you can do the cleanup. Another way, using a bit of software, is the disk defrag. On a normal hard disk drive, when Windows is running normally, it just puts things back where it can find it, find a spot for it, and it may not necessarily be in the right place. So after a while, your disk becomes fragmented a fair bit, and it can slow the system right down, and you're wondering, well, why is it taking so long? It could be because it's fragmented. Ever since Windows 7, Microsoft has set the disk defrag to run automatically. You don't really have to touch it. By default, this is running weekly. You can change the settings, of course, but just leave it as its default settings. It's pretty good. And it does defrag. As you can see, the drives I've got are not too bad. They're all 0% fragmented. The next step is to look at your startup programs. Some programs install their software, and then they install little snippets, more software, to make them run as soon as Windows starts, and that can slow your startup down, and they run in the background, and it can slow your whole system down. If you don't need them, you can come in here and disable them. As you can see, a lot of these disabled. It's pretty easy to do it. Let's look for a high one here. I'll do that one for now. You just come over here and disable that. Do OneDrive. And you can just disable it, and it won't be running in the background, so it's not using up resources. Good idea to keep that one running though, of course. But others you don't need to be running. So be careful what you do disable, but it's pretty easy to enable them back again. So that's a lot of software that you can use to optimize your system. They're the three main ones anyway. Now, you also can look at your resources as well. You might find that your system might be running just a little bit slow, and it could be because of lack of memory. When a computer normally comes from the computer store, it's got 4 gig of RAM, and that's okay for low to just above low end users. For above low end to below high end users, 8 gigabytes is good. 16 is a bit better, of course. Windows, if it starts running low on true memory, it uses virtual memory, which is part of your hard drive that it uses. Now you can increase your memory without affecting Windows or anything like that, but you'll have to make sure what operating system you're running. As you can see here, it says 64-bit. The 32-bit operating system only reads 4 gigabytes of RAM. It doesn't read any more. Most computer retailers now do install 64-bit because of the fact that people may want to expand later on. With 64-bit, you can run more than 4 gigabytes of RAM. You can install it in the computer, but Windows won't see it if it's running the 32-bit. The beauty of Windows 64-bit is you can run 32-bit and 64-bit programs. So that's no problem there. You'll see 2 folders in your program folder. So you can optimize Windows this way, or optimize the system this way, by installing extra RAM. You can look at adding an extra hard drive. I'll leave this open for now. I'll leave that open for now. You can look at an extra hard drive. Open this defrag again. As you can see here, I've got more than one drive. Now, if you install a second hard drive, you can save all of your files, like your photos, your documents, and anything else that you want, your music, your videos, to that second drive, rather than save it to the C drive. Because ultimately, if you chock your C drive up too much, your computer will crash, without a doubt. The second thing about hard drives is, you can see here it says solid state drive, whereas that says hard disk drive. Solid state drive, there are no moving parts inside the solid state drive. It's very similar to your flash USB drive that you put in, only on a bigger scale. This one's got a 500 gigabyte solid state drive in it. The beauty of the solid state drive is it doesn't really very often need a defragment, because it doesn't spin. Windows can put the stuff back where it needs to be put. Very rare do you need to defrag the solid state drive. Also, because everything's nice and always in its place, it boots faster and runs faster when you're opening programs and everything like that. But save all your documents and everything to your D drive. Saving it to your D drive, 2 things. Yes, it doesn't take up your primary drive space, and if you do have a major hiccup with your computer and you have to completely redo it, you don't lose your documents or your photos or anything like that, because they're in another drive. Even if you're downloading programs and stuff like that, stick them into another drive. Don't save them to C drive. Don't save them to your desktop. Stick them into another drive. Then you don't lose them, and you can reinstall them from there, rather than waste your download time and gigabytes, etc. So there's a couple of ways of doing that. Solid states do definitely work a lot better. I can tell you that firsthand. Now, the third and probably the most serious upgrade is looking at your CPU. Your CPU does control the speed of your computer as well. You can install a new CPU to your system, providing your system's compatible with the CPU, but you'll need to reactivate Windows. So you'll need to find your registration key or your product key and put it back in when you start Windows back up, because upgrading the CPU is a major hardware change, and Windows will detect that. So that's a few ways of optimizing your computer and Windows and everything like that. I hope you find it helpful. Thank you and good evening.